All right, we're good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Call the Erie County Board of Election meeting for April 17th to order. I'll lead you roll call, please.
Mr. Copeland,
Here.
Mrs. Showerman. Here. Mr. Scatella and Chairman Drexel.
Here. And I want to offer, hearing of the public. Does anybody wish to speak? All right, step three, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name's, I don't have to do that, do I?
You identify it, yeah,
There's people
just say your
that-
name and everything.
Yeah,
They're-
Fred Tepfer, Erie, Pennsylvania, and first of all, I just want people to know, and I want council to be, and the council office to be thinking about, what if the SAVE Act were to pass? And anybody who wanted to register to vote or change their registration because they moved or got divorced or married or whatever, would have to come in person and submit registration credentials, birth certificate or passport, basically, not a real ID, not a driver's license, birth certificate and passport, and almost nothing else. And is the council, is the election office prepared to deal with that? And say I'm 5-10 years from now, I decide to move because I'm getting older. Then I'm gonna have to somehow drag myself in there in person and do that. I'm gonna have to keep paying to renew my passports at considerable expense. It's a poll tax. So people should be making sure that their senators know about that. But also I want the elections office, encourage the elections office to consider what is the impact on them and perceived impact on the people you serve, especially people with disabilities who may not be able to come in person, or poor people or young people who don't have those things. What is the impact? And maybe the council or the election board or the Office of Elections wants to make our senators aware of what the potential impact of the SAVE Act is, because it's considerable. It's really not, as we know, we don't have people illegally voting as citizens who don't belong as citizens. So that's my first concern. Second, I understand that you're gonna get a new whiz bang. You want to get some new whiz bang ballot boxes, and I love the idea that you may have them around the county so people don't have to drive so far. As somebody who has been a designated agent for people, as somebody who has filled out the designated agent form as a judge of elections, and knowing that, and I was designated agent for my neighbors who had their ballots had to be cured. It's a lot of effort to get that form, to get to the people, to get the people to sign the form, to take the form back in with ballots. And even if that's what they're supposed to do now, it'll be even more so later when you're scanning and taking pictures. But is there any way that we can enhance the ability of people to access that form, maybe electronically online? Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak from the public? Is there anyone else that would like to speak from the public? Is there anyone else that would like to speak from the public? All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Call the question.
Mrs. Showerman. Yes. Mr. Scatella.
Yeah.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mr. Drexel.
Yes. On to new business. Official polling location change of Mill Creek 4 from Curry Hall on Kelso Drive to Erie Community College on West 8th Street.
Yeah, I know that you and I talked about this prior to the meeting, which is for the sake of people that weren't here, and that changed twice last year.
Right.
Well, could you just restate state.
They had another water break this year, and it's more significant than it was in the past, even if there's not a way for them to recover from that. So this is looking like this is going to be the permanent move, is keep it at the new location. And that's going to be at the Erie Community College Gymnasium.
Here's the one concern that I have, I mean, clearly we need to move it, it's where it was in the primary last year. That is roughly a mile down the road. On Sixth Street, if I remember correctly, not terribly walkable. Could there be plans in the near future to have a permanent polling location in that voting district? In the confines, I'm just saying in the future, can we explore to try to find a location within that district?
I think that's something that our warehouse manager is also in charge of looking at this polling locations, so we would have him seek out. And that is I mean, that's a process. He's always looking to make sure everything's the best possible location within the district and accessible to people, so I can alert him. Continue looking for a location there.
Appreciate it. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the location change.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Scatella,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman. Yes. Mr. Drexel.
Yes. New business D, official polling location change of Union Township from the municipal building on Route 8. To. Oh, just is changing the address, 16 Forfeit, okay, doesn't say exactly what the building is.
It's still the township building. They
Oh, it's still the
moved,
township,
yes.
it's just different parts, okay.
Different. I'll make a motion to approve the change.
Second.
Mr. Joker?
Mr. Drexel,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman. Yes. Mr. Scatella.
Yeah.
All right, new business C, possible approval of resolution 2 of 2025, approving the ballot layout and offices for 2025 Erie Municipal Primary Election.
So I'll make that motion too.
There's so many of us in here, Ron.
Second. Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman. Yes. Mr. Scatella,
Yes.
Mr. Drexel.
Yes. Do you want to discuss D first or read it first?
Possible approval of resolution 3 of 2025, authorizing the purchase of Sentinel Smart Mail ballot drop boxes from Runback Election Services. So moved.
Well, second for discussion. Yeah, I mean, Gary, can you give us kind of the rundown about the system and the work that you put into it?
Sure, this is an opportunity from Runback Election Services, and that's the company that we currently work with for the Agilis sorter. That's the electronics for the sorting of the ballots. The brains behind that machine and the maintenance every year, the people that have helped us with their ballot issues and sorting them last year. So we have had a good relationship with Runback. And they now are introducing, and it's the only company that is introducing this, a smart ballot box. So this is for people who have their mail ballots that we would be able to have 4 locations in Erie County. That would be an indoor location. But that you would be able to put your ballot in. When you're putting it in, there are going to be electronics. So it snaps a picture of the person putting in the ballot, and it's going to scan the image on the ballot as well, so that we would have a record of whose ballots are in that box. We would also have a dashboard at our location here at the courthouse to know how full is that ballot box, and when it gets to a certain point, then we can send the people out to collect those ballots. It's not going to reject any papers, so people could also potentially put in the designated agent form, they could put in a parking ticket, a water bill, there are other things that people could put in there that are paper, they wouldn't be able to put objects into it, it's a secure fireproof box that just allows papers to be inserted. That being said, everybody's picture that would be taken and captured with the item that they're putting into the box. Just as we are under videotape here at the courthouse, so anybody using the ballot box out front of the courthouse or inside the election offices, that's also already occurring. Those are already subject to right to knows and public information. So that's been in existence now for a few years. This would give people an opportunity in some outlying areas to return their mail ballot and secure ballot drop instead of putting it in the mail or having to come into the courthouse.
And what do you do if one goes in and they take a picture of it and that one, if the same person puts another one in?
Well, that's up for review. I mean, anybody could look at those and review those, but what I'm suggesting is somebody could put one ballot in and walk away. The same person could come back later and you see them put two items in. It could be a designated agent form and the other person's ballot.
But if there's no
So-
designated agent for,
That would be up for review.
and you would know which one it was?
Well, you have to
Because it was-
associate
would
the
be
image
missing.
with the item. I mean, I don't know that you could do that any differently than you could do that now with the ballot box. at the front
Right,
porch.
that's been one of the concerns about the drop boxes, this ballot stuff. So it sounds like this has a little bit better of a handle on it. So that if you get one in there that isn't the person that the ballot's for and somebody else's picture is on there and there's no help form signed, assistance form signed, then what would happen with that? We'd set it aside in a different box. And it may or may not be counted.
We would be,
I think. it would come
everything
down
that
to
first goes into that box would have to be brought back to the courthouse, and there's a chain of custody and a lock and mechanism for that, and documentation of digitally who's collected those ballots, comes back to the courthouse, and then it still has to be put through our sorting machine. So there's still verification on that, and it's just as if we were taking it out of another box, but we have kind of a front end to look and see which ballots are in the box. So if there were something to happen to a ballot box, we know whose ballots are already in there.
I understand that, but if you get a ballot in with somebody else's picture on it, say it's a female's voting return,
Mhm.
and there's a man's picture on it, and there's no assistance form, those would go in a separate box, and
No, that's something
Oh,
that you would have to,
public would
you would have to
know
want to
that they-
inspect.
their vote might not be
Yeah, that'd be
counted.
a manual.
That's something that if that's
There-
alleged,
there
if we
would have
go
to
to
be
the
a
DA's
manual.
office.
Right, that's why they would have to be set aside at some point.
Right.
The machine
Review.
and software is not set up to pick out that instance from happening. It all falls under the same way it would now with our ballot box, right? If they wanna know if someone is coming to this ballot box, they'd have to file a right to know and request to watch that footage.
That still isn't what I mean. If somebody collects 20 ballots and they put them in and theirs is on top, their picture's going to go on their ballot, but the other ones won't have pictures on
It
it.
will be their picture for every single one. If
It's-
one
It
person's
only
putting,
feeds one at a time.
yeah, it's not like a Dropbox, like a mailbox. It's accepting kind of like a parking ticket in our garage, it's like, you feed it in.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
if
so
you
when you're
get the
feeding it in,
same
it's going to take a
person's
picture.
On 20 ballots, then at some point those will have to be set aside. And it'll come down to saying that we're counting them or not counting them.
There's no, it's not set to capture that. You know what I mean?
It's not a facial recognition program.
It would
Like,
have to be a
yeah.
manual review process.
Like the pictures are taken, but there's no software loaded in the machine itself to
No,
instantly alert you.
When we're doing it here,
we'd have to review every picture, and that's not what this does.
I think it would, my guess is that it would be subject to maybe a bystander, it's going to be inside a building. And somebody saying, I saw somebody put these ballots in, and somebody alerting the proper authorities on that, and then it would be investigated at that point.
when you empty the box for the week or the day or whatever, somebody won't look to see if 20 pictures of the same person is on it.
I mean, that's something that
I'm
you
just
can try
thinking
to
about election
establish.
integrity.
I mean, that information to determine that will be there, but I think it's the same as the ballot box out front. No one is. Like, it's not built into our system here for us to sit down and review the daily ballot box video
I
camera.
know, but for.
And it's the same as this, like, if someone filed a right to know, like, I guess, then they could review them all, and if they found the match, then they would bring it forward, but I mean, I don't
Right,
understand.
but
any
it
of
is our job to ensure election integrity too. So,
I object to the
Excuse
fact
me,
that I
point of
didn't
order,
have enough
point of
information
order,
during the meeting.
point
I
of
would like to
order.
make a comment.
That's it, we've had our.
You didn't provide information to me so that I could comment intelligently. I did not know that you're gonna have the ballot boxes indoors. That's a significant change to the current situation.
Mr. Chairman, point of order stands.
Right. Point of order, I mean.
but these sound a lot better than the two that we have. That is,
It's an opportunity. It has a lot more safety. I have some, this is not for public distribution because this was not, this was prepared by the company for me to be looking at. But I have what the dashboard looks like and what some of the other security measures would look like here. So if anybody wants to look and see further, I have some, it's proprietary again, because they are security issues for the boxes. But it's an option.
It's exactly what this is. This isn't, we're not changing the way that we're voting in Erie County here forever. What we're doing is we're adding another option for people to use if they want to. And, that's,
I agree, but I think there should be some way when you empty those boxes to make sure there aren't 20 pictures of the same person in it without assistance boards.
On our dashboard, we'll have the picture of the person putting the ballot in or putting the paper in. That's something that'll come across on the software.
In that space,
Yes,
it's not right at the time.
no, it's collected with it. So you have a digital imprint of this person put a piece of paper in, assuming a ballot at 3:37, and this is a picture of the person when they put it in to the ballot box. So if there's something we can do, either a review everything, or we can do random checks, or there's something that the board could create as a policy for that as well. But this is, at the moment, this is the time where we would have to make a decision if we want anything within the next year. Because we're ahead of the curve, we're one of the first counties in the country that would be using this technology. They have a 16-week build time for this for our county, and they're kind of at the point where they would need to know how we're going to move on this.
And the only thing you haven't addressed yet is cost.
It's $12,500 per unit. And then I think it's about $2,500 in maintenance and service warranty for the next years. They gave us a breakdown for the next 5 years, and it would just be the maintenance.
How long is the warranty?
It's a 5-year, I have to look at the warranty agreement, but the amounts are spelled out for the next 5 years and information that you have.
Mr. Chair. Yes, sir.
I have some concerns around the designated agent concept as it stands currently. So if somebody drops off into the ballot box here at the courthouse, a ballot, and they enclose with it their designated agent form, what happens to that form?
I think Tanya can speak to that. It's set aside to be associated with that ballot, though.
We retain those records? Do we
Yes,
Match it in
yes.
any way with the actual mail envelope that, of the ballot, like,
No. The
So-
designated agent form is just kept set, we set it aside.
so with the, let's say somebody has a designated agent form, they follow the process completely. And they have wrapped around their ballot, the designated agent form, and put that in. The box wouldn't scan the envelope, right? It would just scan the outside of what it saw in the designated agent form, right? What process is there that in place currently that you insert a designated agent form and the machine recognizes that, and then when you put the ballot in, it recognizes that? I guess for me, there's not a great tracking mechanism to correlate that this ballot was associated with a designated agent, or this one wasn't, right? And so when people are gonna request RTKs on these, of course they are. One of the things that we're gonna need to produce in a rapid fashion is the designated agent form that goes with that ballot.
Right,
I mean, are we prepared in our current processes to provide that information?
We've had right to knows for designated agent forms, so we always keep them.
Is the designated agent form, subject to local procedures, like, for instance, if we were to put on the outside of the envelope a spot to sign an affidavit for a designated agent, would that satisfy the legal requirements of the state?
It's the
I don't
form.
believe so.
This is-
What I'm concerned with is that the mail ballot in its current formatting does not appropriately tell people what their rights or obligations are to turn it about by themselves. For instance, if I go out to the mailbox and put the flag up and put 4 ballots in my mailbox for my family, I've effectively participated in ballot harvesting. Right? By placing 4 individual ballots in the mailbox. And I've not appended so I'm saying this process is not really directly tied. Now, if we had somewhere on the outside of the envelope to say, oh, hey, in order to have somebody else drop off this ballot, sign here, and have the person drop it off, sign there, I could go to my spouse and say, hey, I need you to sign this so you can put it in the mailbox.
there was a place to sign, the person that's giving assistance to sign.
If you need help signing, it's just for the signature. It's not for
That's-
delivery.
That's
of
it,
the
you've
ballot.
helped fill out the ballot, not that you.
Right, but that's basically what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I believe in the instructions for the ballot, it does say that you have to deliver your own ballot.
Right, it does.
I just feel that there are cases in which people will unknowingly, not being aware of the, need for a designated agent. Drop off a spouse's ballot. And. Right, like that, so like if there is some sort of at least language on the envelope to alert people to say, hey. This ballot is for you. For you to physically drop off. And the machine isn't making any distinctions. And so, okay, I've signed the designated agent form, but I didn't put it in the box and I actually kept it. Is that appropriate for me to keep that designated agent form?
I think there should be some kind of public education as well about these machines. So that people know that the picture is going to be taken. And if they are dropping off several other ballots, that their votes might not be counted.
Well, I think that that's part of, if we were to launch something like this, there would be a lot of education and we'd have, we'll have our own website, a lot of instruction and videos.
I can just see a lot of angry people that their votes weren't counted because other people dropped.
I don't know that, I think we're getting into a lot of weeds here with votes being counted or not
No.
counted. It's an option. You guys, last year you wanted, drop boxes and there wasn't enough security for people and a peace of mind. This was an option. I jumped at the chance with Runback because this isn't anywhere in the country yet. This is just being launched. And to have an opportunity to have a smart ballot box that's secure and have these features, I thought I would bring it to the board. This is completely up to you, but it's an option. There's no one thing that's an end all, be all,
No.
cure all for the election.
This is
It's an
better
option
than
for
it
the
was
people.
though. And I think with public education, it's just imperative.
It's the
I would
public
say about that.
education component that I'm
Yeah.
concerned about people. Not understanding their requirements if they're gonna, you know. Take their college kids balloting because they're out of town, you know,
True.
something along those lines.
There's a challenge in any of these situations though, and I think, you know, in any good negotiation, right? Let's say you have two sides, two parties that are willing to really work together on an issue. Not everybody's gonna be 100% happy, right? Good negotiation, each side gets a little bit here, right? We want more access to voting, and I believe that the Republican Party wants more security in that option. And I think we're in a very common ground here. We have the option of being able to jump in to something and be the first, you know, in it. Well, actually, we'll be the second loser and jump in for the primary, but we will be ahead of the curve here, and we're not replacing all options for, you know, voting here. And I understand the indoor part sucks, I get that. You know, everything has its challenges, and I'm sure there's more things that we have to iron out in the process and in the training along the way. But today we need to make a decision whether or not we wanna take this step forward. And, you know.
I do think we should all be concerned about security and then. the
I
election
am
it takes, so-
100%,
Not
you know,
just
and that's why
somewhere,
I'm pushing
somewhere.
this, is because I don't think that it would be fair. For me to say, I only want ballot boxes if it doesn't in any way hurt a Democratic voter. That's not fair. This is,
I
this
don't
is,
believe
this
I
is
said
every
that.
voter. No, I'm just saying, like, for me, like, if you say you take a picture, like, so what it takes your picture. Like, yeah, that's all that stuff is subject to right to know, and, you know, we play that process out if it comes up, but right this minute, that's not what's in front of us. What's in front of us, I think, is a good option with security. It gives integrity, it gives people an extra, you know. I mean, maybe only 100 people use these things and it ends up that no one wants to use them. Or it could be that everybody wants to use this and it's the only option moving forward and we have to add more ballot boxes. We'll see. I mean,
The
What,
only, Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair, the first question is to ask whether harvesting is legal. By and far, most states in the United States ballot harvesting is legal.
Not Pennsylvania,
Pardon?
not Pennsylvania,
I'm not so sure. I mean,
I'm quite sure.
yeah, I'm
There's-
sure too.
I don't think there's a law against, dropping multiple envelopes in a drop box that are all
Purpose.
legally.
That's the purpose and necessity of having a designated agent form.
Well, no, it isn't. The designated agent form is for someone that's not going to be around when they're sick. Traditionally, that's what the designated agent form is. But tell me, what's the difference between me dropping off my son's valid vote and mine together? Why would that be harvesting?
I don't agree with the law, but it
I-
exists.
Well, I'm not so sure.
I
I'll
would
look
like
into
to
that
have
myself.
a point of order on this first. I'm not so sure that we're not trying to solve that issue in this meeting of whether or not it's right or not right to drop a, we're not making that determination. We need to make the determination of whether or not we're going to move forward with these ballot boxes.
I agree, that's exactly right, but that's not what the discussion's been.
I have
I
one
understand,
more
I'm just
question.
trying to rein it back in.
I have one more question. Karen, is there still grant money available
Yes,
for this that would cover it?
yes.
What's the timing requirements of this?
16-week lead time to have this by the first week in September. We need to have that passed and resolved this week.
Or is that available for the generator? Correct?
Right, it's not for the primary for sure. But in time for it to be deployed in the community by the first week of September.
Have
Cool.
more questions?
And anybody else? No? No more questions?
Gary?
Call this
Mr.
question.
Chair.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that we do at the Board of Elections, we don't get 2 reads to give, time for some ideas to cook in the community. I'm not entirely sure this is in line with Robert's rules with it being motion, but I would make a motion to table. Give it more time to go. No.
What's your opinion on that? Because
Well, we
you
won't
said
have
there's
it
a
this
time.
year. We'll be, if we don't do it now, and that's fine, this is not a clerk decision, this is a board decision. If we don't do it now, then we won't be in the queue for these. It will be opened up to the rest of the country for next year's elections, and we'll wait, when they have them available again. So,
I kind of appreciate letting some other people trial this and see how well it's functioned for them. I mean, we have one county in the state that is currently using it.
Luzerne County, I think there's in Chicago, and there's a place in California that are going to be evaluating that this spring. They've been working on the technology for a while, and it's ready for the communities.
Nobody interested in second? David?
It does involve money. Although it's covered by grant, but I can see your point in tabling.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big change and a lot of times, I mean, that's the purpose of doing 2 reads for our ordinances, to give people some time to contemplate and think about it. Have more public input. They might have issue with it being indoors, but for instance, and give an opportunity for people to,
That's also just to let you know, that's also for the sake of the electronics and the housing and the technology with the internet and things. That's where we're at with the box and technology. That's why it needs to be inside where there's a power source inside. Those are the reasons. There's not any other purpose in having it inside right now. It's just where the technology in the box exists. Also, you do have another chance to consider this because on Tuesday, we're asking for a waiver of the purchasing code if it passes today. So in order for it to be purchased, we would have to waive the purchasing code and in doing that, because we have a sole source vendor letter from the company, we would need to make that decision on Tuesday. So if it's passed today, it would still have to go through council on Tuesday for the full board.
Mr. Chair, as a matter of procedure, any election board resolution that involves money, it should actually be titled a recommendation to county council. And it's county council, because the election board doesn't have the authority to spend money without the approval of council. So maybe, again, the title of this might be changed to authorization of the purchase agreement and recommendation to council.
didn't we buy a truck last year?
I didn't.
We did.
And that was a motion by the board, and that was an issue because the executive was that purchase. And if it was an ordinance passed by council, it would have been subject to its veto.
We had put that
Well, that
out
was
with the
fine.
RFP and gone through that process at the time. This one has a sole source.
Sole source, right?
The business of the election board is separate and apart from the business of county council. And it's always good to keep that demarcation between the two in case of an audit. As far as spending money, the election board is really no different than the department of the county. It really doesn't by itself have the authority to spend money unless it's spending money from its budget.
Right. Which is where the truck came from.
So So we don't think putting this on the agenda for Tuesday gives you enough time? I mean, we've had this information in our inbox for how long now? 5 weeks?
You know, I think that there was a meeting in 23 that I recall where, a rental agreement was approved by a resolution, and there was, a lot of conversation in that meeting that I wish had changed people's minds. And, you know, I think hearing some of Ellen's concerns and some of the constituent concerns just gives me a moment to think. And, I'd rather not be on an artificial timeline. Are people aware that they're coming to Tuesday's meeting to discuss something related to the Board of Elections? I really just,
I mean, this agenda's out, so if this gets put on, yeah. I think it would be aware.
nobody seconded my motion, so you can call for a roll call.
Well, no, we were still just having discussions. What is your timeline as far as waiting? Is there a week or two?
If we wait until May, they won't be able to deliver by September. And
But
then
there's
there's,
still another week and a half left in April.
right, and you could call an executive session anytime or another board meeting anytime.
Then
Notice.
I'll second your table motion. So we can discuss it, and if you really want to meet the deadline, we can call for another meeting.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes, is there a second?
Yeah.
Mrs.
She was
Sharman,
the
yes.
second.
Sorry, Mrs. Sharman seconded it, and also you're saying yes to table. Mr. Scatella,
This is a motion to table?
yes.
Yes.
Mr. Drexel,
No,
motion to table carries 3-1.
all right, we're on D. Or no, we don't need D.
I think we skipped over C.
No, we were on. I just stopped right there. We started discussions. We don't need C, D, and E, then they're all tabled. Is that all?
No, just D.
Just D,
Just D.
resolution 3 has been tabled.
So new business E, possible approval of resolution 4 of 2025, approving increased rates for drivers delivering election supplies.
So moved.
Question?
Mrs. Sharman,
Well, do you, I don't know if you want to help people with what it is.
sure, so we're making, we had increased some of the pay over the last couple of years. We did not increase our driver's pay. We have a little bit of a different plan this year, and instead of the judges coming to pick up their supplies, we're going to be having them delivered. So we have a couple of extra drivers this year. We have 7 instead of 5, and they're going to be doing the full circuit instead of just a partial number. So it's really warranted that we're paying them for the full day, whether they're electing to do it on a Friday or Saturday. Those arrangements still have to be made, but that's the purpose of that.
So you called my name?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Sharon, okay. Mr. Scatella,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Mr. Drexel.
Yes.
And also just to follow up on that, that also, we have some cost savings internally because normally we're paying all of our staff overtime to work on Saturday to be outside and deliver those as the judges would come through. And because of this arrangement, we won't be having to do that either.
Election report?
Okay, we have a couple of dates to let you know. Last day to register to vote before the primary is May 5th. The last day to apply for a mail-in ballot or absentee ballot is May 13th. On-demand voting, previously known as early in-person voting, is expected to begin on May 21st. So far, we've had 16,429 mail ballot and absentee ballot requests.
That's after the election, May 21st. April.
What did I say?
May 21st.
Or the day after? My. Correction.
They got you.
So, yeah, I know you said the 21st and I was on a roll with my May, so yeah. April 21st will be, hopefully be the first day for early in-person voting or on-demand voting. So anyway, so far we've had 16,429 mail ballot and absentee ballot requests. 12,544 of them have been from Democrats and 3,935 of them are Republican. So we're still seeing that, big disparity in the party with the mail ballots. The Dominion machines were upgraded to the latest suite, which gives us some additional capabilities for reporting as well as printing options at the polls. As you know, our machines are not connected to the internet, so all of these updates were performed by technicians from the manufacturer, Dominion, who upgraded the units individually and on site. Logic and accuracy of the voting equipment at the warehouse and in the fishbowl was completed yesterday. Logic and accuracy testing will begin on the poll pads on Monday. An update on the court case regarding whether the board should count ballots with a missing or incorrect date. I can either read this that you sent to us, or you want to make a comment on that.
Well, I think I sent it to everyone. The judge for the Western District of Pennsylvania, federal, Judge Baxter, once again held in favor of the plaintiffs and held that the dating requirement under Pennsylvania election code is unnecessary and has no significance and therefore not required in determining whether a mail-in ballot is legal. I think that no sooner was the ink on the decision that it was appealed then by the Republican Party to the Circuit Court of Appeals. So that is still up in abeyance after 4 years.
That's all I have for you for the election report.
Questions or comments from the board?
And I stand corrected, there are 3 states in America where harvesting is illegal. The 2 progressive states of Texas and Alabama, and then Pennsylvania.
No one has any
That
questions?
too will come.
We're adjourned.
Yes,
Are we moving right into finance?
My intention.
everybody ready to move into finance? Yeah, okay. Yes, we will be moving right into finance.